All right, last but not least, we have Living Hope. And this is probably a song that I have not played live, but the fact that it's written by Phil Wickham and Brian Johnson was so random to me, even though I know Phil writes with tons of people. But it's a song that I don't get Phil Wickham vibes from. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, who would have thunk? But one thing I did want to make note of before I forget, one, it sounds relatively live. So I don't know if they planned on recording this live or if it was just spontaneous. Like, oh, hey, we have a recording set up so we can record the whole set. And all of a sudden they're like, this is really good. I think we should put this out because it's on multi tracks, right? So, but the funny thing about multi tracks is they never have the lead vocals, which is usually for good reason because you don't want just if you have the lead vocal, then it's just like you have just the regular song, right? So you want everything but the lead vocal for the most part. And the only other thing I can think of, the reason why they do that is they don't want people to take the lead vocal and then make like a remix. Maybe you need permission, you need to get special you need to get special treatment or permission or advanced. Yeah, you need to be able to get it cleared before you do something like that. So them having it available on multi-tracks probably wouldn't be the best thing. So, but yeah, one was the sound was pretty live. I mean, the lead vocalist, there's not like you don't hear auto tune, it doesn't sound perfect, which is normal, right? For regular Sunday worship that you hear on your YouTube channel of your church. But even then, most people have auto tune. So, but that was one thing I noticed right away. Like, oh, it sounds pretty live, which is cool. So they probably still redid things like parts of guitars or piano, maybe sampled drums so that it sounds exactly the same every time. They could even have put everything to a grid too, so everything's exactly to the tempo. That way, overdubs and things like that are a lot easier to do. But yeah, the biggest thing that I did for this song, as far as just the chart goes, is the chorus 1, 2, and that's it. They were labeled as pre-chorus, okay, and then the bridge was the chorus. So what they had was verse 1, pre-chorus, verse 2, pre-chorus 2, technically, then just chorus, verse 3, verse 4, and then chorus, and then you're done. Okay. Which is fine. That is how they probably wrote the song. Because at the end of the day, this part, it could be a chorus, but I think one of the biggest things is it has pretty much the same chords as the verses. So because they blend so similarly, other than them being exactly the same, because they're so similar, I don't know if it's just like a writer thing or what, but we occasionally seem to overthink things like, oh, if we don't make this a pre-chorus, then people are going to get really confused about the song, not having two different choruses or something like that. I don't know. But whatever the reasoning was, it didn't really make sense to me to not have a bridge, because another thing about labels and having different sections is, in a verse, you play differently than you would a chorus. In a chorus, you play differently than you would a bridge, And to me, yeah, I just think keeping things to the normal verse, chorus, bridge, chorus out is good, because it's pretty much how every song's been written since the beginning of time. And so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's kind of what I instinctively did. Once again, I know the chorus might not sound exactly like a chorus, and the fact that there's two different ones is confusing to some people. But even the bridge, this I'm trying to remember the actual vocal, but let's just play the vocal, shall we? Use our MP3s.
So great is, oh, beautiful Savior, I'm yours forever. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Oh, hallelujah. Praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah.
So yeah, so it sounds like it could be a chorus, right? But for the sake of the other parts, I just thought, you know what? This is like one of the biggest parts of the song. We're just gonna make it the bridge. And if it doesn't work for you and your team, you copy, paste, change it, do whatever you want. But the whole point for me is, when I communicate this to my team, it'd be like, hey, I want the hallelujah to be like the biggest thing that someone's ever heard. So I want everyone to do what they can to make these sections feel different. So yeah, so having those separations of the verse and the pre-choruses / chorus to me is more important. Solidifying that as like, this is a different section. We're gonna play it differently. We're gonna have a different pocket. We're gonna have a different vibe. So then once they get to that big hallelujah, it'll just make more sense. And then they break it down. They do another verse, or sorry, they do the verse 3 and verse 4. And then it looks like the only difference there is verse 4 has this 1/3. So then come the morning, dun, 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 you're buried there. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the wrong verse. So then come the morning, seal the promise, you buried but begin to breathe out of the silence, the roaring lion, declare your victory. So yeah, just that last 1/3. It's like literally the last verse that you'd ever sing, and then building into the hallelujah. Yeah, I think if they didn't have those pre-choruses, yeah, you would just call that hallelujah a chorus. But yeah, I mean, you can throw in a bridge, right? You can make a bridge up. Come on, y'all. But anyways, yeah, it's pretty straightforward and yeah, pretty chill song.